guys, I wanted to come on here and show a little video about what I use wallpaper for. I've had a lot of people ask me when they saw my wallpaper books what I do with it. And you can do so many things with wallpaper. This is just a few things. And I'm flying without a monitor because my iPad is upstairs. So I'm hoping I stay in frame, craning my neck up to try to see my cell phone. So forgive me if I don't completely stay in frame, but I will try my very best. So a few of the things that I've done with wallpaper is make envelopes. Now I think I have doubles of almost all of these. These are just envelopes that I've made. I have a template. If I'd had it with me, that would have been great so I could show you. I'll show you in another video, but I basically took an envelope, undid it, and used it as a template. So instead of taking the paper envelope and tracing around it, what I did was I put the envelope on cardboard or a heavy cardstock or chipboard, traced it, cut it out, and used that as my permanent template. I just found that easier instead of trying to trace around like a very thin envelope. So I've made a bunch of these. Some of them are really great because they're blank inside. It looks just like an envelope. These ones are fine, even though they're cream. But let me see if I can come across an example. Let's see, these are really cool. They've got a great texture and a great sheen to them. This is very silvery. This is also very metallic. And I might not find any examples in this batch, but I'll show you some others. Because my wallpaper sample books, the backs of them do normally have some writing. Luckily I didn't get any writing in any of these mini envelopes. But, and I think I showed these in my, craft update, what have I been up to when I was sick. I did cut, yeah, see, there you go. I did cut these out that had already been traced around. And some of them are definitely have the writing on them, the text on them. If you don't mind that, that's great. If you do mind it, you might want to take an alternate piece of paper, like a cardstock, or it doesn't have to be cardstock, it can be scrapbook paper, and you're just going to want to trace around here. You're probably going to want to bring it down to wherever this stops, or a little lower than that. Trace around it, cut it out, and just glue it right over. That way you'll have like a little liner inside. I don't mind the text. It's kind of a few steps too much for me. So I have these, again, it's a template that I made from an envelope in my collection that I got. It was just a scrap envelope that I got in a bunch of envelopes. Opened one up, made this awesome little template with it. Now I can make any kind of envelope from all of the wallpaper. The only thing I'll mention with these is when you are gluing your envelopes, it's important to use a good glue. Okay, you're not going to want to use an Elmer's glue or something like that with this. I've even had some bad luck with some tacky glues that I've tried. My best bet that I always go to is going to be like a Fabri-Tac. Let me see if I have one open. I should have one right at hand, you'd think. I do have Fabrifix. I have this large bottle of Fabrifix. And so want to take note of where it starts. And you're going to want to use a really good glue, like a Fabrifix, on this. Some envelopes, if you don't have these little flaps, you could probably just sew in your sewing machine if you wanted to, and that'll definitely take care of it, you know, even better than glue, right? And I hope there isn't a glare in here and that you can see what I'm doing. Again, this is a new location for me to film at, and it might take me a little while to get it right. I do have some lights that I just purchased, and of course I've just been too lazy to set them up in the last hour and a half that I decided to make a video. So the awesome thing about this too is that as it's wallpaper, even if this dries a little bit and you notice that there is glue on the edge with the wallpaper, it typically will roll right off. If not, you can always use one of these little glue buddies to get the glue up after it's dried. But yeah, simple as that. So I have a lot of envelopes that I make with these, and you don't have to just leave it as wallpaper either. Of course, you can always embellish it more. A really great thing is to put some trim down the side here, down this piece. I typically would I usually sew that on as a piece of decoration, and of course you can put labels, you can add fussy cuts. Oh, and I can see. Did leave a mark. There, perfect. All right, another thing that I do with this wallpaper is make journal covers. And guys, when I get on a roll, I just keep going. So I made a lot of journal covers, like ones I don't even have plans for yet. So these are simply 2 pieces of coordinating wallpaper cut to the size I wanted, and then I tacked it down lightly inside until I was able to sew around the edges. You don't want it to like bubble up. It is crinkly near where you fold it, but that's really just going to happen. I haven't put any pockets in here yet. I probably will do that though when I go to make them into journals. This, on the other hand, is a wallpaper piece and some beautiful scrapbook paper. So this is like a cardstock, scrapbooking cardstock. So I have some of those as well, and they're durable enough to be a cover without, being a hard cover. It's still a soft cover. This is with paper as well. And there is a trick to making these a little bit so that they don't buckle here. You're gonna, when you measure your wallpaper out to cut it, you cut it all out, you fold it in half, okay, and you're gonna crease it well. Do the same thing with your paper, your cardstock, glue it in, make sure that it's very nice and tight here, and then when you sew it, make sure you hold this down at an angle. You can see that. Don't sew it flat all the way around, because then when you go to fold it back, it will have a really weird bubble kind of distortion. So you always want to hold it at an angle, almost closed, as you're sewing, and then just roll it, and then as you sew the back side, you're going to want to keep that folded too. And I did not come up with that on my own. I'm trying to think of the YouTuber who I saw doing that. It could have been Jessica over at Paper Terrace, or it could have been somebody else that is just not coming to my mind at the moment. but I did not come up with that on my own. And it works really good. And even sometimes, like, as I was sewing these, they didn't look like I had done the greatest job. But, like, setting them under something heavy and just, like, walking away for a few days and coming back, they definitely sit much better. And they look better. This is a much heavier duty wallpaper. So, some of them you'll find lighter, lightweight wallpaper. You'll find heavier, stronger wallpaper. This is like very interesting when you go to tear into it. It like feathers, like it has fibers in it. This one was a gold one. Some very glittery paper, very shiny paper inside. So I have a whole bunch of these that now I have to make them into journals. So that'll be fun. This is also wallpaper. And I'm trying to think if this is scrapbooking paper or more wallpaper. I did these a long time ago. Okay, this is definitely both wallpaper and wallpaper. And this, honestly, I think this was like a mac and cheese box, guys. Like, I'm pretty sure this was just a mac and cheese box. And yeah, I did not sew around this one. I just wrapped the edges around and glued them well. Set it to dry and then glued an inside piece as well. And they're pretty good. You know, they're not really meant to sit flat exactly. It's meant to have a spine. But I imagine when I fill it full of papers and give it a good closure, you know, it's going to be perfectly fine. And this one as well. Oh my gosh, so cute. Although, like, it's so tiny. But that could be really fun, just making a really tiny, almost like a traveler's notebook style. I mean, it's not the right measurements, but the traveler's notebook style. That's really cool. So yeah, that's what I have today, guys. Just some different ways for you to use your wallpaper, different covers you can make, envelopes that you can make, and you know, especially with the Fabrifix, it dries really quickly. So like that's all ready to go. Yeah, a huge thing is, I would say, get an envelope to use as a template. An envelope you're not really caring if you use. You know, sometimes we get big bunches of envelopes all at once. Yeah, just take one of them apart, trace it onto either a cardstock, cardboard, or chipboard. Chipboard may be a little harder because you're not really going to be able to cut nicely around that. But yeah, then you've got a template for life. So thank you guys. I'll be back with some more videos later. I hope you guys have a great crafting day.